You've been learning about value investing, finance, just regular investment for a while now, but you don't know where to go next. You're getting confused about the vast amount of information on the internet. You don't want to waste your time on crap information. You want good information and reliable information. In this series of videos on value investing and finance education, you will find those answers to those questions and much more. My name is Jason Rivera. Welcome to Value Investing and Finance Education.
Hey, Jason here. Today I want to talk about competition and specifically competing with yourself and why I believe that is so important. I talked before in one of my videos about competition and why I don't necessarily do it or enjoy it anymore. So if you want to watch that video, make sure to look at the link below for some context to this. Because I likely will get into some context or get into some kind of similar concepts, I guess. So, I'm a big believer. Actually, let me step back, give you some context, a little bit of context from the last video. So, when I was growing up, I played sports pretty much from the age of 6 all the way up to 16, 17 when my dizziness started. Hyper competitive person. I don't like to lose. If I play any game with you, if I play Uno with you, if I play Battleship with you, if I play Fortnite with you, if I can't play any sports anymore, but because of my dizziness. But if I were able to play sports with you, any sport I would play, I would want to beat you. This goes for my kids too. If we play a video game, I might let them win a couple times, but if they start talking crap, then I go full out and then I just destroy them. Incredibly hyper competitive person. But, as I just said, I can't be competitive with others anymore for the most part, unless it's video games occasionally, which I play, stuff like that. I can't compete athletically anymore because of my dizziness. I get really dizzy if I move around and exert myself. Even for like 30 seconds, I get really dizzy. So to get my competitiveness out, I guess is the best way to put it, is I compete with myself. It's not as fun. I'll fully admit it's not as fun. But to me, it's more important because I'm competing with myself every day to be smarter, get better, do things better, treat people better, whatever the case is, I'm trying to be better every single day. And so how do I practically do that? I practically do that by learning and reading and watching videos, educational YouTube videos every day. I do that by creating stuff and teaching people, which of course makes me focus my mind and figure out, hey, this doesn't make sense how the way I'm explaining it. How can I figure out another way to explain it to where it makes sense to the other person, but also reinforces in my mind, hey, this is a better way to say things, which of course makes my knowledge better, my experience better. I read a lot of financial statements from both private and public companies. Figure out how to, if I were running the company or if I'm advising the company, how I can make the company better. And when I say I read or listen to audiobooks or listen to YouTube videos, I mean, I think I'm up near, I've already read or listened to 26, 27, 28 books this year, from January through May. And that doesn't count any of the financial statements I've read, which I've probably read probably easily 500 plus pages of financial statements from, including private companies, probably a dozen or 2 different companies. Watched dozens of hours, probably 50 plus hours of educational videos on YouTube. So I'm learning constantly. I spend probably depending on the week, 10 to 25% of my time learning. And it's not necessarily all stuff that I will use now. I'm a big believer in the Charlie Munger statement, not only to wake up every day smarter than you were the day, when you started the day, but also compounding knowledge over time. I don't know the skills that I will need 5 weeks from now, 10 weeks from now, 10 years from now. So I'm always constantly learning. They say there's studies out there that say if you read a book, listen to a book, you retain, most people typically retain 10% at most of the information. So what I do when I learn something like capital allocation or how to evaluate insurance companies or marketing or leadership or whatever, I study on that concept extensively for weeks or months. I stick to that concept again for weeks or months at a time, so I reinforce the concepts from the various different resources, which helps me learn faster and learn better. Again, I'm always getting better, and I believe if you want to reach your true potential, which again we don't know, my true potential years ago was just getting out of bed, because my dizziness was so bad at that point that I literally could do nothing else for 30 minutes out of a day, and then I would read or whatever for 30 minutes, and then I would just go lay down for the rest of the day again. That was my true potential 8, 9, 10 years ago. That was my true potential, quote unquote, at that point. Of course, I've obviously gone way past that, and I'm advising companies now. Those kind of things, teaching students value investing, selling companies, helping sell a company over in the UAE that we're working to get $10 to $25 million out of. A lot of stuff like that. So I don't know what my true potential is. I'm 32 years old. 10 years from now, I don't know what I'll be doing. Probably something along these same lines, because I've already been doing this value investing and finance and investment related stuff for 10 years, but I don't know where things are going to take me. And I always want to be prepared for opportunities as they arise. If I hadn't spent the last 10, 12 years plus struggling, learning, being frustrated, learning more, implementing things, reading a ton about things like value investing, capital allocation, investment flow, picking stocks, reading financial statements, these kind of things, I wouldn't be helping companies today, again, advising companies or trying to sell companies or advising to sell companies. I don't want to limit myself and my potential, which is why I'm constantly reading, constantly learning, constantly listening to audiobooks, constantly watching videos on YouTube. Again, every single day. I don't remember the last time I didn't read or listen to an audiobook or read a financial statement or something like that. I literally don't remember the last day I didn't read or do something along the lines of learning. It's become such a habit at this point that, again, I can't even remember the last time the last day I didn't do something along those lines to improve my knowledge, improve my mindset, and improve as a person, improve my skill set, whatever the case may be. I think this is going to be enormously important. This goes back to my talk about personal competitive advantages, I think a week or two ago. And I talked about the importance of being able to learn well, learn fast, learn efficiently. This goes in with that. If you have the ability to learn skill sets, valuable skill sets, if you have the ability to learn and improve and learn things along the way, you will reach or probably exceed what you thought your true potential was. And again, most people limit, and this is a self-limiting belief in my opinion, they put a cap on, I want to make $100,000, I want to make $500,000, I want to make $1 million. If you have the skill sets to do those things, to make $10,000, to make $5,000. If you have the skill sets to do those things, you have the skill sets to not only make more money, but also help more people as well. And if you continue to learn, continue to improve, continue to gain knowledge and skills and experience every day, it might not pay off this year, it may not pay off in the next 5 years or the next 10 years. But it will pay off at some point. How do I know? Because I'm, again, experiencing that now as I'm advising these companies overseas and helping these companies, helping to sell these companies overseas. Some of this stuff, I mean, I've been learning or began learning about 10, 12 years ago. And it's just now kind of coming into me actually being able to use it in a practical sense. But what it's also done is given me extreme confidence in my abilities to help these companies, and also I'm extremely prepared to help these companies, which again builds my confidence that I can do this, that I know what I'm doing, that I know what I'm talking about. And it's also, frankly, in terms of capital allocation, maybe one of the most probably knowledgeable people in the world outside of billionaires about capital allocation. Because again, as I've talked about in multiple videos before, most people don't know anything about capital allocation unless they're in the billionaire kind of stratosphere. Even 10, 20, $100 million companies know almost nothing about capital allocation. So again, all this combined together, stuff I started learning 10, 12 years ago, I'm helping people with now, helping companies with now. And again, it's a long-term play learning. It's a long-term play. I'm thinking 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road, what skill sets I'm going to need, what mindsets am I going to need to reach the levels of success that I want to reach. And actually, I think this was a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I learned probably 6 months straight about leadership, because I thought I was a decent leader, but I can always get better in something like that. So I was always learning more and more and more. Same reason I still read financial statements. There's always more to learn. There's always new companies, new industries to learn about. There's always different nuances to learn about. There's always different situations to learn about. And if you are comfortable reading and learning and experiencing these situations, if they come up in the future, then you'll be prepared. Again, this goes back to being ultra prepared, and I'm ultra prepared for everything. This is probably a reason why I love history too, is because if you can learn from past mistakes from other people, then you can hopefully avoid them yourself. If it's a similar situation, you can think, oh, that person did that here. You can kind of go through the mindset, hey, this is what they did, this is what the outcome was, this is what they could have done better, blah, 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 this is what I should be doing, type of thing. Or at least this is what I hopefully is the right decision in this situation based off my previous experience and knowledge. But if you haven't spent time learning about that kind of stuff in the past, for example, studying terrible companies, or companies, how they got into big trouble by doing too many acquisitions, for example, outside of their circle of competence. If you don't learn from those kind of mistakes and learn your circle of competence by learning how to avoid major mistakes, which is a big part of what value investing is, avoiding major mistakes, then you will make those major mistakes. And it just, again, maybe this is just the way I learn best, but I'm a huge believer in quantity and quality of reading, but quantity, and that's why I spend, again, 10-25% of my week, every week, learning, improving, gaining skills, gaining knowledge, whatever the case may be. So, and I believe, again, that this will be a major competitive advantage over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, not only for myself, but for you as well, if you're a learner like I am. And again, I used to hate to read. The only time I read in school was when I was in middle school and high school, was when they had what was called accelerated reader back in the day. Essentially, you read a book, then you take a test on it, and you got so many points depending on how long the book was, if you answered the questions right. That's the only time I read. I hated reading until I was probably 22, 23, somewhere around there. And now, again, I just learn constantly, read constantly. I've already read almost 30 books this year. I'm on pace to reach the 60, 75 book mark this year in terms of books read. And again, that knowledge will just compound over time, and I truly believe you should be a lifelong reader and learner. And hopefully this point illustrates it well for you and why you should become a lifelong learner. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people ever on earth. I think he's number 3 right now in the richest people in the world list. He is in his 80s, late 70s, 80s. Been in investment arena and finance arena for 60 plus years now. And he still says he reads 500 pages a day, every day, just so he can continue learning, continue gaining that knowledge, continue gaining that experience. That's got him up to being one of the richest people of all time. And there's a stat that most CEOs read 50 to 60 books a year. So if you want to reach those kinds of level of success, you need to be a learner. You need to have that experience. You need to have that knowledge to get to that point. But even if you're reading 1 book a year, you're still doing better than most people on earth who read nothing at least nothing of importance. So read and learn as much as you can. It will help you gain confidence. It will help you gain knowledge, help you gain valuable skill sets, and become more valuable as a person and as a worker or employee or business owner. Help you become more valuable to other people, other corporate entities, stuff like that. Give you confidence, make you ultra prepared and ready to strike when opportunities arise. And again, you have to think the long-term play. I might not need this now, but this will help me at some point down the road, whether it's 5 days from now, whether it's 5 weeks from now, whether it's 5 years from now. It will help me at some point become a better business person, value investor, entrepreneur, whatever. So I hope this brought you some value. Let me know your comments below. Let me know what you think about learning. Let me know the last book you read in the comments below. And make sure to like, love, share, subscribe, and hit the bell so you're notified every time I release a new video. We're releasing new videos all the time. Until next time, I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.